Good morning, everybody. Except it is not morning at all, it's night. Been a busy, crazy day, and so I'm just getting out to do my video for today. But in yesterday's video, we talked about maintaining these bikes, right? And then I was talking about service manuals and how many of you actually have service manuals. Now, there's owner's manual. That's what comes with the bike. And then there's actual service manuals, and that basically tells you the nuts and bolts of it all, from A to Z, torque specs, how to take stuff apart, how to put it back together, how to measure, I mean, all of it. If you can read a service manual, you can do anything on the bike whatsoever. And there are a couple of options for service manuals. So what I have here is printed. This is from my Harley Davidson manual. Now, I don't have it in paperback. There was a Facebook group where people were loading manuals they got. So like they bought the manual and then they would take that manual and they would load it up digitally to the group. And then everybody that wanted that could download it. So I got mine like that. I downloaded it. I have it on my computer. I have one for my Softails, and I also have one for my V-Rods. It's downloaded on my computer, and the main reason I do that is my computer always travels with me. So guess what? I have a full service manual on my bike with me anytime, anywhere I go. So that's great. I can just pull it up on my computer, go to whatever page I need to go to. I can even zoom in because, well, I'm getting freaking old. So that has been a great tool. But you can also get, I think Harley manuals are pretty expensive. I've personally never bought one, but I want to say most people are like, they're like $100 for the Harley Davidson service manual. And then the other choice is something like this. This is a Haynes manual. Like, you can get these at O'Reilly's. I'm sure you can buy them online with Amazon or any of them. And they essentially do the same thing. They're a lot broader, where your service manual for your Harley is like year specific. These are more generalized. As you can see, twin cam 88, 96, and 103 models 99 to 2010. So this covers that whole range. And I use this a lot. You can see how dirty it is. When I'm out in the shop, I use it. Because it does the same thing. It gives you all the torque specs, everything you need. It gives it to you. And it actually gives you some stuff that the other manual doesn't give you. As I was looking through the maintenance schedule, because that's what this was truly about, I wanted to go over maintenance and what they say that you should do, and wondered if you guys actually did that. So, of course, engine oil and filter, that's the first 1,000 miles, and then it's 5,000 and then 5,000 miles intervals after that. Then, of course, you're supposed to inspect for leaks, air cleaner, tires, all that stuff's pretty standard, right? Then you got your primary case, that's every 5,000. Transmission, that's every 5,000. Clutch, you're supposed to check adjustment, and the primary, you're supposed to check adjustment. Those are also every 5,000 miles. Basically, you've got to check the whole bike over every 5,000 miles. Now, what it doesn't say is, it actually says fuel tank filler screen, but I think they mean fuel filter, because on the Harley manual, that's what it says. On the Haynes manual, it says 25,000 miles, you replace the fuel filter. So that's one. Do you guys replace your fuel filter every 25,000 miles? I don't think that's one that people actually think about, because the fuel filters on mine's inside the tank. Now, I've replaced my fuel filters, but usually not on a schedule. It's just like, oh, I think it's about time to replace it, and I replace it. Front fork oil. This is the one we were talking about yesterday. You're supposed to replace it every 20,000 miles. That is what's recommended in both books. Brake fluid. So I think general rule of thumb is every 2 years, but the Harley manual does not say that. It says to inspect the brake fluid every 5,000 miles. Now, by inspect, I am assuming that they are talking about checking for moisture in it, which they have a tool that they can check the moisture in the brake fluid. Once the moisture hits XYZ, then you should replace the brake fluid. but there is no mileage requirement for that. So, you know, unless you have that tool, you just replace it ever so often, every couple of years for me. But you know, that can be like 40,000 miles for me as well, 40 to 50,000 miles. But anyway, all of that stuff, gasoline blends. Did you know that for my bikes, it's recommended to be 91 octane or above, and only 10% or less ethanol mix for the bike. And the other one is steering head bearings. So you're supposed to lubricate them every 10,000 miles, and you're supposed to adjust them at 10,000 every 10,000 miles as well. So I don't adjust them unless I've had an issue, but the manual says you should adjust them. I don't know if they actually do the test or they just automatically attempt to adjust them. I don't know how that works at the dealership. I'm just telling you what I do, and I don't always follow the book by the book. I don't do by the book stuff very well. And then, of course, test your battery. I test my battery when my battery goes bad. Like when it doesn't start anymore, guess what? I need a new battery. I don't load test it or anything in between times. I did find this pretty funny. It says road test, verify components and systems function. You're supposed to do that every service. Really? They needed to tell me that? That's a little bit ridiculous. Also in here, you'll find how much fluid is supposed to be in there and the torque specs. Now, I will say this much about like engine oil. I always put less than what they say is supposed to go in there. I fire the bike up, I let the bike run, and then I check it once it's all warmed up, because there is fluid still within your system that you just can't get out unless you go to the process of cleaning it completely out. I don't do that. I don't know very many people that ever do that. Primary chain lubrication, you can check that, your primary chain adjustment with your inspection cover. But it does tell you everything that you need to know in your manual. So lots of people ask online, what fluid should I use? What torque do I do? Get yourselves an owner's manual. It will tell you everything you could possibly need. Tire changing sequences, how to tighten things, how to loosen things, like I said, how to measure, what your measurements should be when you're setting lash, and when you're measuring your cylinders. I mean, literally everything you could possibly need is in one of these books. And like I said, the Haynes manual isn't as specific as the Harley one, but much cheaper. Both of them will get the job done. You make the choice. You can probably go online, do some hunting, and find you a Harley manual that you can download, which is awesome when it's on your computer. But anywho, that's just a little tiny taste of the owner's manual. But I highly recommend getting yourself an owner's manual, not an owner's manual. I said that earlier. There's a big difference. I recommend getting a repair manual for your motorcycle so that you know exactly how to do things. And you may even look up the repair before you do it and just see if it's anything that you want to tackle. The other big plus is wiring diagrams. Ever have a wiring issue you're trying to figure out? These wiring diagrams are priceless. It tells you what color wires do what and how. And you can chase it down instead of just pulling everything apart to chase the wire. Anywho, guys, that's it for today's video. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all tomorrow.